Excuse all noise, it's warm and I just got out of the bath, so yeah. It's fucking. I've got weird topics to talk about today, and it's not really anything I talk about usually. Um, I'm gonna have to double check this. So, I'm an alcohol drinker, um, and it tends to be like it has some severe issues, and it has benefits. I will say, just honestly, and there's a reason I don't promote alcohol or just anything really. It's very rare that I do promote it because I only promote good ethical products. I try to promote ethical products, but you can't know for sure. That's the only thing with that. Um, so yeah, I've been drinking alcohol and it's been a hell of a journey in a sense, and it's been one that's filled with ups and downs. No doubt about that. It's got so many ups and downs. Enjoying this Mount Farm. Um, well, it's also a tough question to like, was it like, is alcohol good or not? And I'm just going to look at the long-term side effects of it and see. So I've looked it up, and there are some risks to it according to NHS, which can be reliable but not always. Just saying that because it's important to understand. I go to a ward here, so you don't have to stare at the files. See. Um, but of the side effects that they list, I have a few of them. I do get breathing problems, which apparently happens with more than 12 units, which I don't drink. I'll, I'll talk about my story and everything that I've experienced as well. I'll try to. After this, I got a bad heart rate or something else. I definitely got high blood pressure, and I think I still do. I think it's like at worst when I was having a panic attack, it was like 150 over 50, something like that. It's 150 over something. And a week after I got tested, and I was at 115. So I had gone down, but I was still drinking alcohol and having consistent panic attacks. So I think that was definitely something I was experiencing. I had some alarming signs of, well, mouth cancer, of all things, which I didn't even know you can get, given like the mouth has so much bacteria anyway. That probably would get infected or something, or obviously have like growths. But I got these weird sort of things at the back of my mouth. I could barely reach them at the time. That's how off all the way it is. It felt like a cyst or pimple actually. Well, you can actually pop it if you try hard enough, but it wasn't always successful. I've only done it like twice in the 8 or 9 times I've had it. It's not always consistent in that sense. Um, so that was worrying, and I haven't got checked out for it, but it's definitely possible. The next thing is like depression, and again, it's a long-term side effect here. I definitely felt more depressed after having alcohol, and I don't know if it is autistic burnout because I am experiencing that as well. And now here's the next one that's interesting: dementia. Symptoms of dementia: memory loss, finger speed, mental sharpness and quickness, language such as using words incorrectly or trouble speaking, understanding, judgment, mood, movement, difficulty doing daily activities. You know, I think I might have a touch of that. It's not surprising. Like, I've always thought that I felt a bit like I had dementia, and that was in like the past year or two. So that was very concerning for me. It could also be autistic burnout again, but I'm not too sure, and it's better to be safe than sorry at this point. Sexual problems such as impotence or premature ejaculation. What is impotence again? I can't remember. Premature ejaculation, yes. Weirdly enough, I do get that as a male. It's so fucking weird. Like, obviously a bit TMI here for a few seconds. But I try to get to the point of ejaculation, and before I even get there, it just comes out. It's like, oh, that didn't feel good. Infertility erectile dysfunction, yes, I've had that. So, comes it, infertility, oh yeah, I'm definitely unable to get pregnant now. Damage to the brain, which could lead to problems of thinking and memory. That's scary, but I'll probably have that as well. To an extent, weirdly enough, it hasn't affected my thinking capacity. I'm hyperactive, as you can fucking tell. I just drunk a can of Coke. So it's kind of crazy. So that's having some impact on your health. Oh, yeah, around people. I don't know. That's my only answer to that. Because my last housemate was a complete arsehole. And I don't know if that was on purpose or what. It was hard to tell, and people told me, like, oh, it probably doesn't mean it, and then suddenly, oh, he's an arsehole. It's like, okay. Well, you obviously don't know. So it's hard to say, and if he had, like, an issue, like a spontaneous outburst disorder or whatever, it's fucking cool, I can't remember. I'd be fine, I'd drop everything I had against him, but I don't know. The only thing that worried me about that was I seemed to be a bit more loose, because I had moments of calm where I was able to diffuse a situation like that. But then I had moments of like either depression or anger, and I just like didn't lash out, but I was like mad enough that I could shout and argue back. Sometimes, and I wasn't always able to. So I can't really comment on whether domestically it's ever changed anything. I've always had good relations with the other housemate. Kindling, what the fuck is that? I'm to the withdrawal from alcohol, to the first next exposure time, stop drinking because symptoms such as tremors, agitation and convulsion. How the fuck do we address it? I don't even release something. No solution, no. Never had alcohol poisoning, I don't think. With slow poisoning, slow breathing. But that's it. So, that's the side effects that I get. I think I get anyway. Again, could be something else. I do struggle with things, and to start from the beginning. I started trying non-alcoholic beer because I was curious what it tasted like. I always smelt it, and I tried some as a kid because it's just kind of a funny situation actually. And I didn't like it. And yeah, there's like someone in my family drank beer, and I was always curious about what it tasted like if I didn't like it. Just a little bit I had. So that wasn't good. Then going into like when I moved house, and also a family sort of emergency happened. We went out for dinner, and I got offered to try some beer. And so I did, and holy fucking shit, it tasted great. It is, actually I don't want to say the brand because I'm not about promoting it. Again, that's sort of like the problem with this anyway, I'll go into later. But I tried it, and I liked it, and I started to have some. And like immediately after I started experiencing dizziness and stuff, but I also felt calm, which was the only upside to it. I felt like I was opening up a lot more than I usually do. If I had to put that on like a percentage, I'd say about 30% more. But I was usually quiet, but then after that I was like saying like more than I usually do. So a few weeks go by and I tried more stuff, and then eventually I get what I call the alcohol bug. It's not like an illness, but it's more like a tattoo bug. Like people get the urge to get tattoos, and I definitely have had that after getting my first one. So I tried a bunch of alcohol. I'm obviously vegan because I am vegan. And it's definitely been an interesting ride. I've tried ciders, I've tried beers, and I tried spirits eventually, as well as wine. I only tried canned wine. And I've experimented and found things I liked and things I didn't. And it was fun for the most part. But I started to notice some issues, and my mental health was, as I didn't notice at the time actually, I noticed only recently. I'm starting to feel more depressed and less sort of comfortable with being myself, and it was like causing tons of issues, like so bad that I think I could have quit anyway. But the one thing that stuck with me is that I seem to have gone into this situation where I was thinking about alcohol, like it's on my mind, which I noticed as a sign of addiction immediately. Because I think one of the things I was worried about touching alcohol was getting addicted to it. So I realised I needed to just like cut down severely. I was going from like 1 week every few days to something like one drink every week, which I still stick to now and won't stick to anymore. I've stuck to up to this point, I mean. That's what I meant by that. Like, it was a struggle in that sense, and there's a lot of regrets with trying it. I didn't really like the effects it had, the negative ones anyway. No surprise. And yeah, it sort of led me to where I am now, in a sense. Well, I moved house, got out of a bad situation, and also my housemate back then sort of tried to blame it on me, blame it on alcohol on me. So it's just powered up into issues that I can't talk and play. Powered up, and I've got the blame, yeah. And it wasn't enough to convince me because the way he portrayed it, if he had actual evidence, studies, and rather than experience, which he used a lot to make things true in his head, then I would have listened, most definitely. I would have taken it into account. But he didn't, so I had no reason to listen. And this is the problem with people who criticise alcohol, which sort of goes into another tangent, like alcohol I knew was kind of bad as an industry. I've always acknowledged that. I don't really realise how bad it actually is. So it always sort of became its own issue. And I always pointed it out, always called it out. But then something else happened. I'm trying to remember as I do this mechanic here. It's just pretty difficult because this is a really difficult mechanic. That one first. Oh, missed it. No. I'm dead. What was the other issue? Oh yeah, like the problem with addicts and people who also misuse drink or alcohol in that sense. It's such an issue that even stigma still stuck with me to this day, and I often think when I hear people drinking and see them drinking, it's like, you know, I just feel like it's really bad. And stigma didn't help things at all, so even though some of us are sensible about drinking, it's not like it's easy to sort of let go of that. But the stigma is definitely there, it definitely has an impact. You know, I often feel like when I was drinking at a restaurant, would I get glances of essentially how people were viewing me for drinking? And if I ever mentioned it in like doctors and stuff, like would they criticise me for it, sort of thing? It's a huge issue that it's never really talked about. It's genuinely a big problem. And I don't know why people aren't speaking out more about that. It's super important that we do. Because you're not going to help people. the other issue I found, which I've just remembered, even though alcohol tasted great and more consistently great than like a soft drink like Coca-Cola or Pepsi, Pepsi's better, and unfortunately it's not vegan. It doesn't have a spot. It does have a spot only, so it's not good in that sense. But it's rare to find a drink that tasted better, and the only ones that I sort of liked that were better in that sense were like Fentimans and Karma drinks. Karma drinks are pretty good, by the way. I recommend them strongly. They're expensive, but they're worth it. Ethical product as well. But holy shit, there's so much problems with alcohol just on the viewpoint of things. It's absolutely crazy. So what happens next? Yeah, so I got that alcohol, moved house, got out of a bad situation, and sort of the move to where I am now. I'm like sort of happy with where I was, but I'm not 100%, honestly. It's complicated, as I keep saying. And the reason I didn't want to promote it as well, again with the stigma, is like people over promote alcohol. You see it in movies, you see it in TV, and it's like, it's so bad. Like, I wish I realised sooner how bad of a sort of ethical claim I was like, making, ethical statement for that matter. It's not on purpose, don't mistake me, don't get me wrong, whatever. But the amount of like romanticising of it is absurd. And I was always skeptical of it from that alone back when I was like fucking just not drinking. So it's just always was a struggle to me. Just didn't like it. And I was sort of like happier before I was drinking, like technically speaking. We get to a situation where I've also been diagnosed with things and got diagnosed with like dysthymia, which is a type of depression. And I generally wasn't sure what to think about it all. I also got diagnosed with anxiety. Yeah. So there were big problems to address, supposedly. And over a year on since getting the diagnosis, I tried the medication. It didn't really affect it with like drink, I don't think, at least. I don't think it did anyway. But it didn't really help. And that was like the big kicker for me, which was only recent. And it obviously wasn't helping because I was unable to go outside, I was unable to do routine, which today I've actually done once I did an hour of artwork. So that's a big improvement from before. Weird how everyone's rocking the boss before a countdown. That's weird. And that one coping strategy, I suppose, on like getting like over alcohol and stuff is like finding something else to stimulate me, because I like the taste of it, but finding something that's like better feeling or in a different sense as well, like touch or feel, or maybe even stressful, for example, it's like far greater because you end up avoiding obviously the complications that come with alcohol. Unfortunately, there are many avenues for that, which sucks. It's always sucked. And it feels just so defeating as well. So it gets to where I am now, where there seems to be another issue, which is so big that it has to mean I have to stop taking medication and essentially stop stop drinking. Might be a case where I can give away my alcohol, I'm not sure. I have to drink the last one that I have and then that's it. But like, it turns out, according to NHS 111, I have autistic burnout. And I wasn't told this by anyone, I wasn't even indicated that it could be that. So it's just fucking crazy that this is even a situation I'm in. I've already talked about this before. uh, and alcohol definitely probably wasn't helping. And that's like, I'm struggling to wrap my head around to an extent. So, yeah, like after multiple appointments again, prescribed another antidepressant, which is annoying. I don't want to try it, it's too risky. I'm going to stop medication and find more natural methods and means like therapy, or definitely give it a try. I'll wait. Um, so, yeah. Um, that sort of leads me to the final point, I think, about why I'm sort of quitting, and it should be obvious now. There's no proper health benefit to it. Um, and I think it's like romanticised again too much. That's one of the bigger things that I fixate on now. That's with most food actually, and food related things. It's not always ethical, and I sort of relate it to the meat industry in a sense, because I think big alcohol already sort of promoting campaigns about drinking and doing advertisements and stuff where it misleads people into thinking it's a cool thing to do or socially acceptable thing. Or somehow I feel it's acceptable, which it probably isn't. And they're doing things like denying drink driving and stuff. Because like the label on the back, which warns about that sort of thing, doesn't mean a thing, so long as you don't show the events of it really happening. But showing something traumatic, I think, would do a lot more like the way smoking does. Like the cigarette packets showing, obviously, cancerous lungs. I could be wrong on that, but I think that would be better. Show the impacts of drink driving and depression and suicide. You need to show the more serious side effects. Because it's like that detrimental. Show the worst possible outcome. Because I don't think you're going to make a point, especially if you're a company that's sort of saying, well, you can't do that, and they're probably owned by big alcohol, then it's not going to be effective. And it's going to ruin more lives. And that's sort of why I didn't promote it that much anyway. I think the only thing to memory that I did with alcohol was actually at the Oktoberfest event, where I dipped my Bratwurst in beer. And it was tasty, but again, it's alcohol. And I don't like any like zero alcohol alternatives, and this sort of brings up another problem which I noticed with I actually listened to a radio thing earlier, sort of uploaded to YouTube. Um, Basically, this guy was saying like he was an alcohol addict, and it was pretty much invisible. And he brought up something interesting. I wish I could remember what it was now. But what was it? There was something very interesting about it, and it's definitely something I agree with. It's definitely troubling as well. Like, it's invisible to tell when you're an addict, and I can't remember. There's a lot of different things, but yeah, I think I have to wrap this up because I'm fucking failing on this. Um, yeah, alcohol just isn't great, and I think more people need to know that how bad it actually is. It's good that most people of my generation, anyway, are being wiser to it in that sense. You definitely need to be a lot more wiser nowadays, anyway, with like capitalism and stuff. That likely plays a role into alcohol. What the hell? I took a position wrong there. It's extremely worrying. And just like, I don't know how bad it's affected me, like, even now when I'm talking about this. My last drink was like for 3 or 4 days ago. And it's not even the the proper result of being off it. It takes years to do it, and I've heard people saying like they feel better sober, and I've never seen anyone saying they felt better drunk, other than like temporary situations. But in my opinion, the thing that really makes me double down on this, which I had considered before, is how essentially the long-term side effects of alcohol far greatly outweigh the good that it can do, and that's even in the taste sense. I'd rather replace an expensive bottle of alcohol, like some of my favourite brands, which I'd say again, with something like Fentimans, which I love as a brand. I genuinely do some nice drinks. Some of the best cola I've ever tasted, even if it was a bit sort of carpet store tasting, it's still nice. Yeah, like I can't fault that, and that's what I replace it with, and I guess like my own sort of solutions again, tying into that thing I said earlier. Is you have to find something to replace a bigger problem. Or did I say? I don't think I did actually. You have to like find something to actually overcome that. It's very important to do that because you won't cope without it, and honestly, I don't think I would either. I think one of the most awkward things about essentially I'm going to come out saying I'm not drinking anymore is that people are going to say like, oh, but why you enjoyed it, you seem to benefit from it. It's like, no, you're not looking at the bigger picture. You could be causing more problems and it's actually helping. I suppose like one of my other solutions is like, yeah, like replace it with like a sensory thing that's more rewarding. I like takeaways every now and then. I don't have them all the time actually. So I could go out once a week at most anyway, at least. But I'd rather reward myself with that than say alcohol, because I won't consider alcohol a reward. I would consider it a fucking burden. The way that it's felt at this point. Um, yeah, I just dislike it. It's a no-brainer for me at this point, and I think if I did promote it, I do apologise. Because I don't think it's a scummy thing to do, and I think like for people who are older anyway, who likely won't know better just because they're brought up that way, as I've heard it as well. But again, don't fault them, but it doesn't help that people just won't seem to care like that much about it. And just wish things could be better and the attitudes would be better. And it's not necessarily a case of like, oh, I want pubs to go out of business. There's definitely a place for it, for pubs. But I don't think there's really a place for alcohol anymore in today's society and our knowledge and understanding of everything. And I think I heard this phrase a while ago, I can't remember what it was. Alcohol never solved any problems. I think I'd probably made it up. And that's been true. I don't really know of any real situations where alcohol solved problems. It's kind of, yeah, in that sense. Yeah, thanks for listening. Hopefully that was informative, also helps anyone if it does help. So, yeah, see you one another time.